Good evening and welcome to the June 11th meeting of the Lowell License Commission. Secretary Wynn, was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Number one on the agenda, please.
Commission would wish to review the minutes for the meeting of May 21st, 2015.
Commissioner Krieger. Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Commission will now take up applications for special one-day licenses to sell, dispense malt beverages and wine only, or either one. I'll read off a list. Starting with Tracy Martino of Aramark for event at the Allen House, 2 Solomon Way, a community social psychology reunion for Wednesday, June 24th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also, Tracy has an application for Allen House, 2 Solomon Way, Sacred Heart Endowment Fund reception for Saturday, August 1st, 2015, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tracy Martino of Aramark for the event at the Allen House at 2 Solomon Way, the Chancellor Me and Farewell for Tuesday, June 23rd, from 2:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And Tracy has one for Durgan Hall at 35 Wilder Street for the Community Social Psychology Reunion, Wednesday, June 24th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Also, Charles Saber of Bishops for an enclosed area of Merrimack Street in front of 143 Merrimack Street for the Lowell Folk Festival 2015 for Saturday, July 25th from 12 noon to 11 p.m. Also, Mr. Saber of Bishops for the enclosed area of Merrimack Street for the Folk Festival on Sunday, July 26th from 12 noon to 9 p.m. Scott Pelletier of Views Bistro at 45 Palmer Street for an enclosed outdoor area at Palmer Street, the corner of Middle Street, for the Lowell Folk Festival for Friday, July 24th from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. Mr. Pelletier also has application for Saturday, July 25th from 12 noon to 12 midnight, and he also has a third application for Fuse Bistro at 45 Palmer Street for an enclosed outdoor area, Palmer Street, corner of Middle Street, the Lowell Folk Festival, Sunday, July 26th, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. Jerry Murphy? Jerry Murphy of the Old Court, an enclosed outdoor area of Middle Street, the corner of Central Street, for Lowell Folk Festival for Friday, July 24th, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. And also, Jerry has one for the enclosed outdoor area of Middle Street for the corner of Central, the Folk Festival on Saturday, July 25th, from 12 noon to 12 midnight.
Could you everyone state the name at the lectern, please?
Tracy Martino, Aramark.
Good evening, Tracy.
Jerry Murphy from the Old Court, Central Street.
Mr. Murphy, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. We've all done this before. Captain Sullivan, any problems at the Old Court? Mr. Pelletier, Mr. Saber?
Scott Pelletier, Fuse Bistro.
Thank you, Scott.
Chuck Saber, Bishop's Legacy Restaurant.
Mr. Saber, how are you? Captain Sullivan, any problems with any? I know Mr. Saber's first time here, but any other problems at all? Thank you. Questions, comments from the board?
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Good luck with all the events. Thank you. Mr. Saber, just 1 second. This is your first time doing this. Any questions for Mr. Wynn at all on what the can and cannot do's at Bishop's?
I think I'm pretty much there. Ryan's been very helpful, telling me what I can and cannot do, and we have a meeting tomorrow. That's going
With
to
Mr. Marchand? Yep.
right to bring us through the entire thing. So
Sidewalk looks great.
yeah, thank you,
Nice job.
thank you,
Okay.
appreciate it.
We have number 3 on the agenda is a ratification for a license that was issued to Tracy Martino on May 29th for a beer and wine license. This was an event at the University Crossing Maloney Ballroom at 220 Pawtucket Street for the Student Affairs Reunion Brunch for Sunday, May 31st from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m.
What are we looking at for this? May 29th?
Well, it was a license that I had issued on May 29th, but the event itself was for Sunday, May 31st. And this is for ratification.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Commission will now take up applications for special events permits for amplification of sound for outdoor public entertainment. Manny Caballero, MC Restaurants, Inc., doing business as Caballero's Restaurant, 573 Lawrence Street, for a sound system for live music, disc jockey, from June to September 2015, Sunday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Thursday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 midnight at the Outdoor Cafe of Caballero's Restaurant. Also, Scott Pelletier, Fuse Bistro, 45 Palmer Street, sound system for band and disc jockey from June to September 2015, Sunday to Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Thursday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 midnight, enclosed outdoor area in front of 45 Palmer Street, corner middle. On the second side of the agenda is Enterprise Bank, Robert M. Lawler. Enterprise Bank fundraiser for Thursday, June 25th, from 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's a rain date request for June 26, 2015, at the parking lot adjacent to the Enterprise Bank, 222 Merrimack Street, sound system for disc jockey. Dean Easterling, of the event manager of the Global Spectrum, Sanger Center, sound system for live music for the Backyard Sunday River Festival, June 14th, July 12th, August 9th, September 13th, 2015, 12 noon to 6 p.m. at the Sanger Center North Lawn. National Park Service, John Marciano, representative for the Lowell Summer Music Fest Series and Free Fun for Kids at Boarding House Park, French and John Streets from June to September 2015. Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Thursday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 midnight. Amplification for live music, sound system. A Lowell Festival Foundation, John Marciano, representative for the Lowell Folk Festival, Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, Sunday, July 26th. Hours are 10 a.m. to 12 midnight on Friday, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Sunday. I think I read that right. 10 a.m. to 12 midnight on Friday and Saturday, and then 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. for Sunday. This will be live music, sound system for the outdoor venues at Boarding House Park, the JFK Plaza, St. Anne's Churchyard, Dutton Street Dance Pavilion, the Market Street Stage, Lee Street Stage, the street performance area at John and Merrimack Streets, and the family area at Mac Plaza. Also, Charles Saber, Bishop's Restaurant, for sound system for band and a disc jockey during the Folk Festival for Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, and Sunday, July 26th, within an enclosed area of Merrimack Street in front of 143 Merrimack Street. Jerry Murphy of Old Court, sound system for the band and or disc jockey for the Lowell Folk Festival on Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, within an enclosed outdoor area on Middle Street, corner of Central. The Centerville Community Coalition, Sandy McNamara, representative, for sound system for the National Night Out, Tuesday, August 4th, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., the outdoor grounds of St. Louis School, 77 Beauvais Street.
Could everybody approach the lectern and state your name for the record, please? Before you do that, Mr. Cavallaro, Ryan, who is applying for the enterprise license?
Well, the person who filed the application is Robert Lawler, representative.
Were you
Now,
notified?
Gentleman, I just pointed out, I don't know who he is.
Were you notified that there'd be different representation?
I was, when speaking with Mr. Lawler when he filed the application, he much has led me to believe that there would be somebody probably in his place.
Okay.
But I didn't get the information as to who that person might be.
If we could extend to Mr. Lawler that if he does apply for another license like this, that you be forewarned and who the replacement representation would be, I think it'd be a
Sure.
show a little
Now,
respect to
also,
the
I want to point out also for the commission is that in respect to the National Park Service and the Lowell Festival Foundation, John Marciano had sent a representative who's here now tonight. I just had a chance before the meeting to ascertain his name, who's Kevin Dwyer.
Kevin's here? Hi, Kevin. Okay, all right. Can everybody
And
just
also,
approach the
last but
lectern?
not least, I'm sorry,
Oh,
excuse
I'm
me.
sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
We have a representative for Dean Easterling of the Global Spectrum. His name is Michael Marcelinus.
Okay. Everyone, take a turn up there. Just state your name for the record, please.
Jerry Murphy from the Old Court, Central Street.
Thank you.
Andrew Duncan, Enterprise Bank.
Thank you, Andrew.
Kevin Dwyer, National Park Service.
Kevin?
Sandy McNamara, Centerville Community Coalition.
How are you, Sandy?
Good, thank you.
Good, good.
Manny Cavallero, Cavaliero's Restaurant.
Annie?
Mike Marcelinas, Global Spectrum Saga Center.
Thanks, Mark.
Scott Pelletier, Fuse Bistro.
Thanks, Scott. Who has not held one of these licenses before? Okay, and we already know the situation there. Captain Sullivan, anything we should know about anything? Any prior?
Just as far as Cavallaro's goes, the midnight, across the street is an apartment complex, elderly and a number of other people, and we'd like to make sure that that keeps under control so they're not disturbing.
Thank you. Mr. Cavallaro, good with that? Fantastic. All
Mr.
right.
Cavallaro, these are the same hours as last year? Right. That's what I thought, yeah, okay.
All right. Wish of the body?
Move approval?
Move for approval by Commissioner Hogan, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Good luck with all your events.
Thank you.
Commission will now take up number 5 on the agenda, which is an application by Aaron App Sellers LLC, Noel A. Powell, manager, an ABC Farmer Winery licensee for license to sell at a farmer's market in accordance with Mass Law, Chapter 138, Section 15F, for Sundays starting with July 5th through through December 27, 2015, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. each date. This is at the Farm Market at Mill Number 5, main corridor of 4th floor, 250 Jackson Street. Vendor space for wine sales and wine sampling, 10 feet by 10 feet as assigned within the market space.
You state your name for the record, please.
I'm Noel Powell. I'm the owner and winemaker of Aaron App Cellars.
You were here before us about a year ago, right?
Well, I think February,
All
they
right.
came in to join the market for their rest of their season of what they were predicting to be. They've decided to go continue on throughout the rest of the year, so I'm coming back to extend the license out through the end of the year to be part of the market, which has turned into quite the fun little event to bring people into downtown Lowell.
How's business?
Been pretty good.
Doing well?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board? Everything's in line, Ryan? Application looks good?
Yes.
All right.
Move approval?
Comments from Commissioner Krieger first? Thank you, Commissioner McCarthy.
I was just wondering, where do you store the wine when you're not selling?
When I'm not selling at the market,
Yeah,
it's at the winery.
it's at the, so you truck it back and forth
Yes.
every day? Okay.
Yes, and there should be a copy of my transportation license as part of that package.
Perfect. We have a motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Best of luck over there.
Thank you.
All right.
We have scheduled number 6, public hearing on the application by Uncharted Gallery and Studios LLC, Michael F. Daly, Jr., manager, for malt beverages and wine-only restaurant license for premises at 103 Market Street. It is proposed that Michael F. Daly, Jr. be approved as manager of record for Uncharted Gallery and Studios. The application for license for common victular and entertainment in a licensed restaurant for live music, disc jockey, jukebox were filed by Uncharted Gallery and Studios for the premises at 103 Market Street.
State your name for the record, please.
Michael F. Daly Jr., Uncharted Gallery.
Hi, Michael. Counsel?
Good evening, Michael Talty representing.
How you doing, Mr. Talty?
Thank you.
Good.
Fine.
Please.
I spoke with Mr. Wynn earlier on this issue, and apparently there was a delay in a butter notice, which is causing us tonight to ask for a continuance of the hearing. And Mr. Wynn is aware of it, and hopefully the commission is. Would like to continue this with the commission's consent to not the next hearing date, but the hearing following that, which would be July 9th. That would, in my discussion with Mr. Nguyen, give enough time to republish the notice in the newspaper and have a hearing with everything properly prepared beforehand.
All right, so we're looking at a public hearing on June 25th. Is that what you're looking for, or are you
Actually,
looking for?
at the meeting following that, I'm not available on the 25th, so we're asking for July 9th. I know, Mr. Nguyen, we had talked earlier about the 25th, but if we could do the 9th, I'd appreciate it.
All right.
So if I just for the sake of the members of the commission, in my conversation with Mr. excuse me, Michael Daly, he brought it to my attention that because of I'm going to say a misunderstanding with dealing with the city assessor's office on obtaining his list of abutters, he was unable to actually send out notice to the butters, and by not being able to do so, it would be in the best interest for the applicant and possibly and probably for the licensing board that this matter be rescheduled for hearing with a new legal notice to be published, in which, now that Mr. Daly has his list of abutters, he will be able to do so in a timely way and a proper way in accordance with mass law. So initially our conversation was possibly having the hearing on June 25th, but apparently Attorney Talty has just made a point of his own schedule that I wasn't aware of. So you could hold the hearing on July 9th. A legal notice would be published for Friday, June 26th.
Okay. Any of the commissioners have a problem with that? No? All right, let's schedule the public hearing. Is it the next meeting, July 9th or 11th? You had mentioned 11th. Is it the 9th?
So our regular meeting is, our next regular meeting is June 25th, but for sake of the
Yeah,
application
the next meeting after that's the
would be July 9th.
July 9th. All right, motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Hogan. Reschedule the public hearing to July 9th. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any against? No. We'll see you on July 9th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Arnold, before us will be James Lucullus, who has appeared on behalf of Coco Luna LLC, an applicant for all alcoholic beverage restaurant license for 250 Jackson Street, wishing to address the commission about the ABC investigator's recommendation, which is dated May 29, 2015.
State your name for the record.
James Lachulis, Coco Luna LLC.
Floor is yours, Mr. Lachulis.
So we were approved for a license. We went to the state, investigator Doyle rejected the application, and it reads, the submitted floor plan and description cannot be approved. The two areas to be licensed are separated by common space, which cannot be licensed. Submit a new floor plan / description to the local board. Lease must define area to be licensed. So we're looking for some guidance for how to add to our application or resubmit, or to figure out what we need to do to comply.
Ryan, if he amended the application for common space in between those two areas, could we just amend that, or does he have to reapply?
Well, I think if I read the investigator's comment, it's not permissible to use the common space as part of the licensed premises. And it's just as I made a point of reference, we had just a few minutes ago, we had Mr. Powell here in behalf of his farmer winery license for that particular space that's being utilized for farmer's market on Sundays, late Sunday morning, early afternoon. It's my understanding in my dealings with the Alcohol Beverages Control Commission and their policy on a licensee having control over the space. Having to have control over the space means like 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. You have to have control of that space. The common area is being used by other tenants on that floor, on the 4th floor. So Mr. Luchulis, even though as a separate entity, as a landlord, renting out space, but those tenants have access to the common space. And in fact, as I just noted, the farmer's market is on Sundays. The license applied for by Coca Luna is for an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant. So it would be, for all practical purposes, it seems to me, unless somebody has that he can only have one or two, he can only have one room or the other. In other words, he could use the theater as his, for a license application for all alcoholic beverages for restaurant, or for the cafe itself.
Right.
But he couldn't have the two of them, and he couldn't utilize the common space as part of the licensed premises.
Attorney Veloso, can you expound upon that a little bit? I'm trying, all right, the common space that we're talking about, Mr. Luchulis, is between the cafe and the theater?
In the theater.
Okay. I'm having a problem not allowing to amend the, so I guess I'm looking for a little guidance, Attorney Veloso.
Certainly. Sort of as an interim caution, I just note that any discussion that I would give should not constitute as specific legal advice. My first and primary recommendation is if you should need legal counsel, you should retain counsel on your own. My reading from the ABCC's investigators' opinion was that the application was for these two establishments, both the cafe and the theater. And based on the floor plan, the areas shaded in yellow was both the cafe and the theater and the bathrooms. Now, it's divided by a long hall, and this long hall is deemed a common area, which is, as the executive secretary correctly noted, is a area for all the tenants. So one possibility could be that in a revised floor plan, only, as Secretary Ryan indicated, either one establishment or the other establishment apply for the license. Another possibility could be that if the cafe and the theater are separate entities, it could be that separate applications, correct, two applications be submitted to the ABCC. One application being for the cafe and solely for the cafe, and the other application be for the theater and solely the theater. That way, the license would be strictly contained within one establishment, and therefore there would be no possibility of alcohol going between establishments into the common area.
Right.
So that way, additionally, you would have, I imagine, two separate managers, so that whatever alcohol is being served at the cafe stays in the cafe and in its premises, and whatever alcohol is served at the theater stays within the confines of the theater. The importance of that being that alcohol can only be served in those areas strictly defined by the license. An additional caution I would note based on the floor plan is that the bathrooms are indicated in yellow as well for the establishment. I'm uncertain as to how it's structured in the building. It could be that the ABCC might also be taking issue with the fact that if the bathrooms are separate from the cafe, that people could be taking alcohol in between the areas, and that might constitute, entering into a common area. So,
I got you.
again, caution should be exercised as to that whatever alcohol is served be strictly defined within the premises. In this case, it should be either just the cafe or just the theater.
Commissioner Krieger.
Yes, sir. With the two license option, which in some ways makes a lot of sense, except it's more money for you, do you serve alcohol in the theater, or was the original plan for people to be served in the cafe and walk their drinks down the hallway to the theater?
The plan was to have 2 separate service areas and never encroaching the hallway or leaving or to go to the bathroom. It would just stay in each contained area.
Okay, so that is a possibility aside from the expense then. Good, thank you.
Any other questions from the commissioners? I think Attorney Veloso, not being your lawyer, I think you may want to get legal representation, but looking at this and the way ABC is going to look at us, you may have to go that route.
So what I would like to do, and just like to propose, and I realize I have to do the paperwork, is I'd like to just license the cafe area.
Just the cafe
resubmit
area?
that, and then I'll,
I would call Ryan tomorrow morning,
okay.
try to go through the process, what you need to do. I don't know if it's going to be it wouldn't be an amended application, it'd be in for a new application, most likely, and go that route.
Well, if I could just interject, if he wants to amend his paperwork to reflect only, say, we're talking the cafe.
Right. He wouldn't have to come back to us, would he?
He wouldn't have to have you wouldn't have to schedule another public
Okay.
hearing.
All right.
It would just be amending this application to select only that one area, which is the cafe. Now, if I may, I think he could, as a separate application, which would then necessitate another public hearing, a new license for the theater, if the commission wanted to entertain another application, which would be a separate premises, separate in all aspects to how you operate the business, so it would be...
Makes sense. You all set with that?
Thank you for your guidance.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Number 8 on our agenda is the matter to do with a hearing on a retail licensee being charged with 1 count allegation of misconduct for the violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, illegal retail sale of alcohol beverages to a person under the age of 21 years of age. This is being charged by William M. Taylor, Superintendent of Police. The licensee is L&M Liquors, Inc., Leona M. Mendonca, manager at 424 Chelmsford Street.
State your name for the record, please.
Good evening. My name's Phil Nyman, and I represent the L&M Liquors, Inc. in regard to the matter that was just referenced by the clerk. I have to tell you that an offense did take place, as perhaps not as set forth by the police report, but with respect to the issue of selling a 12-pack of Budweiser to a young person who was under 19 or under 21 did occur. And it did occur as a result of action taken by a clerk named Albert Mendoza, and I've spoken to him, I've discussed this with him. He is here today. I thought he should be here in case any of you had a question, and this violation did take place. Just for your own recollection, the packaged goods store used to be owned by the Byrne family. It's on Chelmsford Street. And this is owned by the Mendonca family. Mrs. Mendonca is here She's the president, principal officer, and manager of the club. Next door to her is her husband, who works there full-time, 24/7, puts in many, many hours, and his name is Joseph. And the third person that's here is Alberto Mendonca, and he is the clerk who violated the law. After this occurred, they came into my office. I went to the store immediately, and I looked at it. The first thing I told them to do was to re-sign the entire premises. They used to have a little red sign on the door that said you have to be 21. They've spent the last 2 weeks getting much larger signage, much clearer signage on the door, on the walls of the building. They had a sign that used to be on the floor that was obscured by a machine. They've altered that. They've taken that away. They now have a much better camera and screen so that management can see what is going on in the store. We have checked with the with the organizations that train the employees with respect to particularly the law and the sales to persons under 21. Alberto, the clerk, is going to go to a 2-week course, traveling, hourly, before the end of the year, or the first course we can get him into, and he's going to go to that, and he's going to report back to management of exactly what he learned and what's being done. The whole theme, the cash registers now have signs on them that are readable and that say, get birth, licenses, check the age of every person. Basically, I had instructed them and recommended that everybody up to age 40 be checked, because that way there's no guessing and there's no reason for them to come back here ever again. The management is also looking into a machine that I know is present in a lot of stores where you can't run something through to charge it unless you have the driver's license or something that shows what the date of birth is. So this has been a big reawakening for them, and it's caused a lot of upset because these are very nice people. They're from Angola. They're part of the Lowell Portuguese community. They were born overseas. They came here. One of them doesn't speak English that well, but they are all working. Their whole life is this packaged goods store. They rent it. The Mendoncas have a son. Mrs. Mendonca gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to another job so she can get home early enough to take her son home. They're family people, they're community people, and this is really their way of making a living and being part of the country. And yes, they did violate the law. Now, just so that we're not disclosing everything to you, this will be the 4th violation of a comparable situation involving the police. I don't think it's the same young man because he now would be over 21. And I noticed in this one, the other 3 were were not Budweiser, and these are now Budweiser, so the police are obviously being encouraged to support local beer distributors. But I don't mean to be humorous about it. It's serious. But, you know, when you think about it, there's 1,000 days that they have been open, that they have been operating, and we're coming here before you with 4 days out of 1,000 business days of having violated the law. It isn't going to happen again. This has scared them. This has made them more serious. It's made them upgrade the store. I'd like to show you the pictures if I can. Officer, if you want to look at them, and just so that I'm sure you know the area, you'll see where the signage is up. They're talking to their distributors, they're talking to their sellers to get help on what they can do and how they can make the business better and more and safer. There has never been any problems here. It's not a place that's known for sales to minors. But a clerk, for whatever reason, didn't continue to stay alive and awake 100% of the time, and the incident slipped. I'm asking the board if they are to seek to penalize them, to issue whatever you're going to do and maybe hold it in abeyance. And you've done this before, and they violated it, and you put it back in. But I really believe that they've found the Lord. They found what has to be done. They're prepared, they're aware, they're scared, and they're caring. And I believe this would be a very appropriate time to let them know that if they keep complying with the law, that they won't have a problem. And if they don't, then they're going to have a problem. That's basically all that I have to say. They are here. They're prepared to speak and to tell you how they feel. It would be personal. And by all means, if there are questions or you want to know something about them, that's basically all I can say as a lawyer presenting the case.
Thank you, Attorney Nyman. Fourth violation in 3 years, is that correct?
5 years.
5 years. All right, fourth violation in 5 years. Mr. Mendonça in the back, you were the clerk at that time. Is this your first time that this has happened to you?
No, he happens to be the leader. He's the one who is the principal violator when he's been there. There's only been one other person who did it, and that's that gentleman. The other one is this gentleman, and
we have three violations against Mr. Mendonça, basically.
right.
But the first one was
No,
somebody else.
I'm
that
sorry.
no longer
Okay, but
works there.
that's basically it.
All right, let me just clarify. The owner is Mr. Mendonça in the back. That's happened to him once.
No, it was somebody else that
No.
worked there.
Somebody else, but then there's 3 violations against Alberto Mendonça.
Yes.
Okay, that's troublesome, first off. Okay. Mr. Nguyen, what do we have in abeyance right now, if anything?
There is no
There is
days
nothing held in
abeyance.
abeyance.
There's no
Okay.
day in abeyance.
All right. I'll let the commissioners ask a few questions, but my first thought here is, I do appreciate the extra signage, Mr. Nyman, that's going to be going on. What I did find intriguing was you are getting the license machine. Is that correct? So you're going to be able to scan the licenses, and this should not happen again. Is that what you're telling me? Okay. I'll have some final comments, but I'll let the Commissioner Krieger.
Yes, Mr. Alberto Mendonça?
Yes.
The report says that you mouthed off to the police officer. It says, quote, "He was argumentative and rude to these officers." Is that correct?
Well, if you ask my opinion, I'll say no. My opinion is that I only answer what they ask me. And if they ask me, I have to answer, but when I do answer, they think I was being rude or something.
You understand that that's a problem.
Yes.
It's a problem across the country, and that's one of the things that I find offensive here. Make a mistake, own up to it, be polite to the police.
No, yeah, but I didn't argue, so.
Let me finish. The other thing is, Mr. Nyman, my line is, ID your own mother, just to be sure. Not 40 years. ID your own mother. You can never tell.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Other commissioners? Any other comments, questions? Commissioner McGovern?
I guess I have a little bit of a concern, the fact that this has now happened with a specific person and an employee of that establishment. And I think that it obviously reflects poorly on that establishment, because it doesn't seem that, other than when that employee is working, there doesn't seem to be any other issues. So I don't know if there's a way to work around that, or, as far as what our dealing is with it from our end of it, so.
Commissioner McCarthy?
Counsel, I think you need to work with your client, and he can't be arguing with the police when they come in there. He should realize that, whether he did or he didn't. I'm not here to decide that, but I don't think the police are going to lie in their reports. And again, with 3 times being caught, he's really got to pay attention up here. I do appreciate the signage. I think it's great. I do appreciate the fact that you're going to get a machine for the license. I think that's really going to help you out an awful lot. So let's see what happens.
Commissioner Hogan?
Do you have a timeline for getting the machine for the licenses? Do you have a timeline for the machine?
They're supposed to be next week.
Oh, okay.
Anything else?
No.
My concern, I think, here is dealing with this for the 3rd time with the clerk. And I do appreciate that he's going for training now. But I guess, where was the training after the first, and maybe the latest, the 2nd time this occurred? There was a lapse there, and it seems like nobody took it seriously. For that, Mr. Mendonça, I don't mean to, you're right in front of me, I apologize, but it's like, I use baseball as an analogy. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
I'm, and then with the argumentative behavior, and obviously the police aren't here to, we didn't call the officer to be here tonight, because obviously Mr. Nyman has said that this obviously did happen, so we didn't think we needed the police here, but I guess I always say this at every meeting, that this board prides itself in being consistent. And in many instances like this, that we've given out punishment that I think is deserving in this situation. This isn't a situation where it's happened once. This isn't a situation that's happened twice, 3 times, 4 times. In 5 years, that is a lot of times for 5 years, 4 times violation. You know what? After the 2nd time, I think I would have got that machine. I wouldn't have waited to this time. This is a little bit above the norm. But I do appreciate that the machine will be in place. I think that's a step in the right direction, and I think it would, I am going to make a motion, and I'll let the commissioners vote yea and nay, but I think I would have gone a little bit steeper if I didn't think that this investment was being made by you, and having the machine, and Mr. Mendonça, all you have to do is put the license through the machine and let it do its work. So I am going to make a motion that we suspend the license for 3 days. We're going to hold 2 days in abeyance. We're going to suspend it for 1 day. 1 day, 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 1 I'll make that motion first. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any comments, Commissioner Krieger, before?
Yeah, the 3 days I like, the 2 days in advance, I would have gone 1 day. I mean, I realize that these people have come here to the United States from Angola, which is a war-torn country, not a pleasant place. But they've got to put that behind and move into our culture, our way of doing business in the United States. And I think that if we ever see them again on the other side of our bar, that I'm happy.
Okay. Commissioner McGovern, you have any final comments concerning, I would step aside on my motion and put forth the motion by Commissioner Krieger if that's what the commissioners feel is necessary.
Mr. Chairman, could I just...
Sure. Attorney Nyman, go right ahead.
We, they understand and have understood this for a while. Their ability to deal with it is a lot different, perhaps, than a lot of us who are in business here. We've been talking in my office at least for 4 meetings. I've been over there once. I understand what the problem is, and to be perfectly truthful, and I think this is going on in all of your minds somewhere, if I were running a business and I had an employee who could be jeopardizing the business, he may be working somewhere else. And that's been discussed and that's been raised. This is brother, grew up not in America, married, children, having worked together and feeling very bonded with everybody. That's why the effort is being made. That's why we're working so hard. And this has been a very, very moving, difficult time for this family. And their lawyer has made it very clear that, you know, this isn't a volleyball game. This is serious stuff. I just want you to know that there is a lot of emotion here. There's a lot of feeling. There's a lot of family culture. And they're working through it, and it's going to be successful. Again, with the machine, there is no question in my mind that Alfonso finally understands where the ball has stopped bouncing. And I just want you to know that that's been part of the discussions throughout the entire matter also, since I've been counsel.
I appreciate that, Attorney Nyman. And you bring up a good point. I think I would have fired him myself. 3 times is just too much. There's no excuse. And I appreciate, you know, the defense for your client, but I would step aside my motion. The motion on the floor is 3 days suspension with 1 day held in abeyance, 2 days served. Is there a second? I will second the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion does not pass. I will resubmit my motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner McCarthy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, and I think you ought to think about whether this gentleman should stay in your business or not, but that's your decision, it's not our decision. I think you've done a great job putting the signage in. You're gonna have the new machine. I would like to make I'd like to give a 5-day suspension, held in abeyance for 1 year.
None, all 5 being held in abeyance.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Krieger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Present. Motion passes. You've been given a huge break here by this commission.
We understand.
And
But
Attorney
you're gonna be
Nyman,
closed for 5 days if you know, we don't make it work.
Well aware of that, Mr. McCarthy, and it's, I think it's something that really will make an impact, and that they will realize what is happening, and that this is, nobody's fooling around anymore. And I really appreciate what
So
you've done.
if I may interject, the 3 days suspension is to be held in abeyance for 1 year?
There's a five-day
Day suspension.
suspension, all
held-
days held in
1 year.
abeyance.
Held, no days served
No
right
days
now?
served.
Okay.
I think you're doing the right thing, trying to put things together, so keep the ball rolling in the right direction.
Thank you, and we're very sorry.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you again, and I'm sorry for what happened, and I promise you it won't happen again. Thank you.
Do you want the pictures, or do you want me to take them?
You can take them back.
Thank you.
I think 5 days puts them in our spot. You close down for a week, you're out of business. Patty Riker's up here. Yeah, but they should get rid of the guy.
Yeah, just wait till you see what I've been writing on your Facebook wall while this is going on.
Commission now will open a hearing on allegations of misconduct as charged by William M. Taylor, Superintendent of Police, dated May 6, 2015, against the licensee Rivers Wild Inc., doing business as Jameson's, Shannon M. Kelly Barroso, manager, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 26 Andover Street, for violation of Lowell License Commission Regulations 1.15, manager, 1.16, manager's responsibilities, and Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 63A, hindering an investigator.
State your name for the record, sir.
My name is Raymond Weicker. I'm here at the request of Ms. Shannon Kelly Barroso. She called me about 4 times today while I was out of my office. Her car has not come out of the shop. I am requesting a continuance on her behalf. I do apologize. There are some matters I would like to inform. I don't know if the commission has seen a letter that I sent in May regarding her personal circumstances. I don't want to announce them into the record for the televised public to hear.
Understood. Did you convey this to Mr. Nguyen today?
I literally only called her about a half hour before coming down here. So I called her back when I got into my office at about 10 minutes of 6. She explained her situation. I said I would come over. So I do apologize. This was not a meeting that I planned on attending. The matter in question, having reviewed it and gone through it.
Will you be her counsel?
I think at this point I will be, yes. Again, I had no intention of it until about a half an hour ago, but I think it's probably in the best interest that it be done that way in order to just request that this be continued. I can even have her bring an auto repair bill if the council,
I'm sorry. the what?
I can have her bring a car repair bill if you guys need. I'm certainly willing to do that.
So you spoke with her 4 times today? Is that what you said?
She called me 4 times today while I was out of my office. I called her back at about 10 minutes to 6. So.
Commissioners, any comments?
I think that we need Ms. Kelly Barroso here, and I think that we therefore need to move this out 2 weeks so that we can get her here. I would hope that if we move it out 2 weeks, if necessary, Mr. Weicker will go pick her up himself.
Well, I don't do chauffeur service, but.
We'll have Captain Sullivan get her then.
Okay. It's got a city car, right?
Yeah, he's got a
Oh, there
back
we
seat
go.
to there too. Motion by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy to reschedule to our next scheduled meeting of June 25th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Weicker, have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Move for adjournment by Commissioner Krieger, second by Commissioner Hogan. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening.